Good evening. These are the stories making the headlines in the Hot 7 Nightly News. The number of homicides for the year is now at 3 following the killing of a man in Vieux Fort on Friday evening. Following a tornado that struck Cuba, the Ministry of Education says St. Lucian students studying in that country are safe. And meet the 10 contestants vying for the title of Miss Independence 2019. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
It is Monday, the 28th of January 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News, also being simulcast on Kiss FM 105.5 and 105.9. I am Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The number of homicides so far for the year is now at 3. This follows the killing of a man in Vieux Fort on Friday evening. Police say they have one person in connection with the incident assisting them with investigations into the crime. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
Days after police recorded a third homicide in the south of the island, reports have emerged of yet another shooting in the same area on Monday morning. According to reports, 20-year-old Miguel Suma, also known as MVP, has been identified as the shooting victim in Bruceville. Further reports suggest that Suma received a gunshot wound to the head at about 9:30 a.m. and after being taken to the St. Jude's Hospital, he is said to be in a critical but stable condition. It is believed that his assailant was a single gunman and that the incident may be linked to the Friday murder of fish cleaner Melvin Romanes George, who was allegedly shot in the back of the head by a lone gunman wearing a hoodie. On Monday morning, Assistant Superintendent of Police Elvis Thomas gave details on George's homicide.
On Friday, January 25, 2019, about 8:20 p.m., officers attached to the Criminal Investigations Department in Vieux Fort responded to a report of a shooting at the fisheries complex. Upon arrival, the victim Melvin George, aka Watt of Bridge Street in Vieux Fort, was found motionless with an apparent gunshot wound to the head. He was taken to the St. Jude Hospital via an emergency vehicle and was later pronounced dead by a medical practitioner. One person is currently in police custody assisting with this investigation.
ASP Thomas indicated that the RSLPF is looking into possible connections between George's killing and a series of shootings which occurred between Thursday and Monday morning in the same area. He also revealed that one person is in police custody assisting with Friday's homicide. A post-mortem examination has been scheduled for a later date. Police are urging persons with any helpful information to contact the Criminal Investigations Department in Vieux Fort at 456-3926. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Now the Ministry of Education is sending out a message to families and loved ones of students studying in Cuba after a tornado struck the island, affecting hundreds in its wake. Reports indicate that all the local students have been marked as safe and sound.
As St. Lucia's ally nation, Cuba, is counting its losses following a rare but deadly tornado, news has arrived to bring comfort and relief to the friends and relatives of locals with loved ones currently staying on the island. The tornado struck Havana late Sunday night and resulted in a blackout, severe damage to infrastructure, over 174 injuries, and a death toll of 3 and counting. Speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Education, Senior Communications Officer in the Office of the Prime Minister, Nicole MacDonald, delivered the good news about the St. Lucian students.
We have several St. Lucian students who are currently studying in Cuba. We have been able to speak with Ambassador Fontenelle, who is stationed in Cuba, who has informed us that our students are safe and sound.
MacDonald took the opportunity to empathize with the persons who were affected by the natural disaster.
At this point, we do want to offer our sincere condolences to the government and people of Cuba. We understand that there have been hundreds of persons who have been injured based on this tornado that hit, and there have been some loss of life as well. So Cuba remains a true dear friend of St. Lucia, and at this time we definitely want to offer our condolences and offer our support in any way that we can to the people of Cuba at this time.
McDonald promised that an update on the students will be sent out when a better understanding of the situation is made. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
In times of disaster, the populace looks to the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, for guidance. With the organization welcoming a new director, Hot 7 News sought to find out how she intends to handle the public opinion of slow response time by NEMO. She sat down with Solange Alfred.
The National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, has welcomed as its new acting director, Doreen Gustav. According to Gustav, the foundation of preparedness at NEMO has already been established, and she remains eager to build on what already exists. She also offered a response to the public criticism in regards to the slow dissemination of information in times of disaster on the part of NEMO.
I'm aware of the situation. Right now, NEMO, in conjunction with SEDIMA and 5 other countries in the region, are working on an early warning system where we'll be able to have the information in a more timely manner for the population.
Gustav says her previous role in management provided her with key skills and competencies that are now perfectly suited to her new role as acting director of NEMO.
I worked at the Ministry of Equity in the Community Services Department. We dealt closely with NEMO in that we have field officers who work directly with the district disaster committee. So my experience coming from the field into management in the office in the district disaster committee has prepared me a bit for this new challenge. Disaster is all of our business, and for sure it is in my heart to do my best in this new position.
Okay. Gustav went on to remind the public to remain prepared for any eventuality. She insisted that members of the public should acquaint themselves with the various district disaster committees and follow NEMO's Facebook page to stay abreast for current disaster tips and alerts. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
The cannabis movement of St. Lucius has a series of meetings held with various stakeholders and high-ranking government officials geared towards weeding out issues that have arisen during the push to decriminalize cannabis are going well. Secretary of the Cannabis Movement, Aaron Alexander, provided Hot 7 News with an update on the work toward decriminalization.
Cannabis regularization remains a focus for Aaron Alexander. He welcomes the dialogue on the issue and says the exercises have been educational and informational for all.
One of those which stood out was Senator Fortuna Belrose. Fortuna Belrose, she made the comment that, or she asked the question rather, if St. Lucia were to go down the route of decriminalization or legalization, would that mean an increase in youth consumption of cannabis? And at that meeting, we were also blessed to have with us one of the leading advocates for cannabis in Canada. That's Mr. Mark Emery. He was with us and he addressed that particular issue raised by Senator Belrose. And in his response, he stated that the example or the trend in Canada, when Canada changed the law concerning cannabis, you find consumption of cannabis grew actually among the elder folk and not so much so among the youth, because at that point, the elder folk, they are the ones suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia and paralysis and all sorts of medical complications, and cannabis is used against all those things.
He says all parties are pressing forward on the issue.
The ministers were very encouraging, in their, reasoning and their discussions with us. It was very warm and welcoming. The Prime Minister, for his part, he remains very open-minded to the issue. And of course, even in St. Lucia, we know the opposition is also supporting, for us to change the laws as far as cannabis is concerned.
Alexander remains positive that follow-up meetings will result in an end goal that all parties involved will be pleased with. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. Still to come, a call for unity from the coordinator of the Independence Committee. Meet the Miss Independence contestants, and the FRC is pressing on. Stay with us. There's more coming up after the break.